In the education business, we learn something that's really wonderful to know. We like it a lot. And it is that there are some big words, some very fundamental words. There's a number of them. Education is one of them, by the way. And you can spend your life figuring out what they mean. Good is my favorite word about that. But another highly favored word by me is the word nature. It's a big old word. It means a lot of things. And yet, those things are connected. It means a little seed, and it means the whole cosmos. It means everything. How do those meanings come to be associated with that one word? What is the general rule? First paragraph.
Well, it's the fact that because of equality and because all men are created equal under the laws of nature, they have the right to...
Under the laws of nature, and nature's God. Isn't that the first authority cited in this?
Yes.
Right? And Christian over here mentions two other places where God is mentioned in the Declaration. What were they?
They were at where we're talked about endowed with inalienable rights by their Creator, as well as the end when we pledge to each other by the name of our divine providence.
Divine providence, Creator, laws of nature and of nature's God. Can you think of another? No. So the answer is supreme judge of the world. Toward the end. So what branch of government would be the maker of the laws of nature and of nature's God?
Legislative?
Lawmaker, right? God is a lawmaker, right? What branch of government would be supreme judge of the world?
Judiciary.
Yeah. What branch of government would be divine providence?
The executive.
I'll be darned. And the Creator would be like a founder, right? Like a constitution maker. Now, it's very interesting that God appears in these guises, in these images, the branches of government, when one of the charges in the middle of the Declaration of Independence is that the king, who's the executive branch, has interfered with the legislature and the judges. He has suspended the legislature. He has removed judges. He has interfered with the trial by jury. The king is trying to be all three branches. But the person who can be trusted to be all three branches is actually named in the document. Only God. Right? It's very plain, isn't it? And if you think about it for a minute, he might need an authority like that if he's declaring a rebellion, because of the source of the law up to that moment had been the king and parliament. And they're saying no more. So king and parliament have not passed a law that says you can cut off from us whenever you want to. If they had, they could have used their authority. But they were saying no, so they needed some higher authority. Laws of nature. What's nature mean?
It means birth.
Birth? Okay, explain that.
So we basically all come to be at some point or in some setting. And as we come to be, and as we grow and mature, we have some sort of essence into how, as people, we live our lives, or as whatever creatures that we are.
You're talking about all living things, right?
Correct.
Yeah, not rocks and trees. Well, trees.
Well, I mean,
not rocks, because they don't grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is that living things have a way of coming to be, and they're born somehow, right? Eggs, whatever. Human beings, by the way, are very unusual in the way they're born.
Yeah.
They take an incredibly long time to grow up. Wait until you have children, and they will punish you as you have punished your parents, right? I mean, I'm in the college business, guy, and look at the age of all of you, right? And if I call your parents, they will be frightened, right? Because I'm the president and maybe something's wrong, right? But if you were some other kind of beast, they wouldn't know who you are anymore, right? Child raising is a big deal for us, and yet we have discretion over it. And Casey's point is this word nature is the Latin word for birth, and the first meaning of the term nature is how does a living thing come to be? But it has to mean more than that, right? Because, as he's pointing out, things grow. Living things grow. This growth, this term, birth natura means the process of begetting and growth by which a living thing comes to be. But living things also decay. And to distinguish the moment when they cease to grow and they begin to decay, you need some conception of what they are when they're fully themselves, completely and fully themselves, when they have realized their nature. It's one reason we love to say at the college, we're helping them to become human beings. They just haven't made it yet. Now, you're potential human beings, of course, and you guys are far along. You're, on the best day, an actual human being. but, on the worst day, I'm not one either, right? So this nature means us becoming fully what we are. Now, what would you mean by a law of nature?
Kind of rules that govern how things should operate. And I think one of the problems that the founders had was that the king was trying to control all laws of nature as himself, and really they had a fundamental problem with that because it wasn't their actual creator.
You can make it specific, right? That's good. That's very good, Steve. And you can make it specific this way too, because if we say that a thing has a way of growing, well, under what conditions does it grow well? Like plants need sun, and sequoia trees need space. Whatever makes it thrive, that's the law governing it. And the laws of nature and of nature's God, they're referring there to this God that appears 3 other times, right? The one responsible for the order of all things. And also, the great majority of them, the one to whom they pray and expect them to protect the revolution that they're waging. Not all of them thought that God was so, but many did, and we're going to learn as we go that it was the specific purpose of the United States of America to be the first country to make a complete and full and happy home for people who thought both ways about that. Because their idea was, those who were Christians, who were the great majority of them, their idea was, you're never going to get to heaven because somebody passed a law saying you had to do so.